Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Manil Thomas. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. French President Emmanuel Macron to be the chief guest for India's Republic Day celebrations in January 2024. US takes aims at financial institutions with new Russia sanctions authority. Executive order gives Washington ability to ban products originating in Russia but processed in third countries. UN Security Council again postpones vote on crucial Gaza aid. Resolution due to US disagreement. Israel broadens its offensive in Gaza. And Pakistan's Election Commission extends deadline for filing nomination papers for general election by 2 days. Court grants bail to former Prime Minister Imran Khan in the Cypher case. French President Emmanuel Macron will be visiting India to attend the 75th Republic Day celebration as the chief guest. India and France share a high degree of convergence on a range of regional and global issues. Year 2023 is being celebrated as the 25th anniversary of India-France strategic partnership, and Indian Prime Minister was the guest of honor at the Bastille Day parade in Paris. President Macron visited India for the G20 summit on the 8th and 9th of September this year. Shifting focus, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said that President Joe Biden will sign an executive order allowing Washington to impose sanctions on financial institutions that help Russia evade sanctions. In a statement, Yellen said the executive order, part of a wider U.S. crackdown on sanctions evasions, also gives Washington the ability to ban products originating in Russia but processed in third countries such as seafood and diamonds. Senior administration officials said that the new executive order would make clear to financial institutions that they must either stop allowing their companies to ship components and goods to the Russian defense sector or face significant sanctions. The United States and its allies, including the European Union and Britain, imposed sanctions on Russia after the Feb 2022 invasion of Ukraine and have continued to ratchet up pressure on Moscow, targeting Russian President Vladimir Putin, the financial sector, and dozens of oligarchs. Getting you the latest on the Israel-Hamas armed conflict, the Israeli army has released a video showing destruction of a tunnel inside Hamas elite quarter in Gaza. The IDF said that the terror infrastructure, including a large network of strategic underground tunnels which connect hideouts and bureaus belonging to senior military and political leadership of Hamas. The Israeli army also released videos showing strikes in Lebanon. It said that strikes targeted Hezbollah's rocket launch sites. Israeli forces fired tear gas near Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque as worshippers gathered for Friday prayers. Earlier, the Israeli forces tightened security at the compound, which has for long been a flashpoint of violence. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that Israeli military operation in Gaza will not stop until it achieves its goals. Netanyahu said Israeli forces would fight until Hamas was destroyed and all remaining hostages released.
We
are fighting until victory. We'll not stop the war until we achieve all its goals, destroying Hamas and releasing all our hostages. What I suggest for Hamas is very simple: surrender or die. They will not have any other choice. And after we destroy Hamas, I will do everything in my power to ensure that Gaza does not pose a threat to Israel.
Meanwhile, UN Security Council diplomats further delayed a vote on the resolution to increase humanitarian aid into Gaza. The UN vote was delayed after the United States on a draft resolution urging scaled-up humanitarian aid access to Gaza after another day of intense negotiations. The AUS led a coalition with over 20 participating countries is safeguarding commercial traffic in the Red Sea from attacks by Yemen's Houthi movement. The initiative, named Operation Prosperity Guardian, began 2 days ago, aiming to conduct joint patrols near Yemen. However, most nations involved have chosen not to publicly disclose their participation due to political sensitivities. Vessels are avoiding the Suez Canal due to the risk of attacks, and the Panama Canal faces restrictions amid drought, though the traffic hasn't notably increased. Meanwhile, attacks by Yemen's Houthi group are forcing vessels to divert or switch their transponders off. Aiming at augmenting the anti-piracy efforts in the Gulf of Aden region, Indian Navy deployed an indigenous guided missile destroyer in the region. In a swift response to the December 14th incident, the Indian Navy's maritime patrol aircraft deployed to investigate the incident on board the Malta-flagged vessel MV Rune and establish communication with all 18 crew members. Concurrently, INS Kochi on anti-piracy patrol was also diverted immediately to render assistance. Angola has quit the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, saying that the oil cartel does not serve its interest. With Angola's departure, OPEC's share in the world oil market will come down to 27% from 34%. The African nation has been unable to meet its output quota because of declining investment, and OPEC Plus lowered Angola's oil output target at a meeting last month. However, the country did not agree with this and sent a note of protest to OPEC. Moving on to Europe, where United Kingdom or UK's economy might be in a recession, according to data that showed it shrank between July and September this year. This happened after Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt suggested that the Bank of England might cut interest rates to boost growth. According to the Office for National Statistics, the GDP contracted by 0.1% in the third quarter. Some estimates suggest that UK has the weakest post-pandemic economic recovery in the G7 after Germany. Traffic on the cross-channel Eurotunnel will gradually resume following an agreement with unions. Eurotunnel has confirmed that a last-minute strike by French workers, which halted trains on Thursday, is now over. Eurostar will resume a normal timetable out of London, Paris and Brussels on Friday. Also, it will put 2 extra trains each day until Christmas to help passengers who could not travel on Thursday. The protest over bonus paid caused massive disruptions on a busy London-Paris route during the day-long strike. Now, in the latest update from the Russia-Ukraine armed conflict, Ukraine on Friday claimed it shot down 24 of the 28 attack drones launched by Russia overnight. At least 2 injuries were reported in the capital, Kyiv. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry said their forces countered many Ukrainian offensives in various regions, including Donetsk. Russian air defense forces also intercepted rockets and drones from Ukrainian side. Well, for the latest, we've got DD India's Megumi Lim, who's reporting from Kyiv.
Loud explosions were heard overnight in the capital as air defense systems worked to intercept drones launched by Russia. Ukraine's Air Force said its air defenses shot down 24 out of 28 attack drones across the country. But one drone hit a high-rise apartment block in Kyiv's Solomyansky district, causing a fire on the upper floors. 2 people were injured from the attack and 1 is being treated in hospital. The building is located a few hundred meters from a maternity hospital. Officials said drone fragments also fell on a house under construction in the Darnietsky district, setting it on fire. Drone debris also fell on an apartment building south of the city center. This was the 6th such attack on Kyiv this month. Megumi Lim in Kyiv reporting for DD India.
Well, meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Thursday that Ukraine was receiving signals that Russia's military planning and activity were slowing.
Today there was a separate report from the HUR Military Intelligence Directorate. The enemy's plans, the work of the Russian defense. There are signals indicating a slowdown. We will continue to support their slowdown.
Kremlin has sent out a stern warning that it will not let a country live in peace if it tries to seize Russian assets. The statement comes following suggestions among Western political leaders about handing over frozen Russian assets worth $300 billion to Ukraine. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said any such seizure would deal a serious blow to the international financial systems and Russia would defend its rights in the court. Moscow has said it is expanding partnership in the military and technical sphere. The chief of the Russian General Staff also said that the hegemony of the United States and its allies is going to be the past, but Washington wants to keep the Western-centric world order at any price. And we've got DD India's Dasha Chernyshova getting us the latest from Moscow.
Despite Western attempts to isolate Moscow on the international arena, Russian Ministry of Defense says it continues to beef up cooperation with foreign partners. The chief of Russian General Staff, Valery Gerasimov, said at a meeting with foreign military attachés on Thursday that Moscow has established, quote, comprehensive interaction with North Korea and is continuing its course of strategic partnership with India and China. He said one of the priorities is to cooperate with overseas armies. Gerasimov accused the West of seeking to create new conflicts in the world, especially in the Balkans, Transnistria, Central Asia and Afghanistan, but also in Asia-Pacific, where he says NATO-like military blocs deteriorate the security situation. He said NATO's activities in Eastern Europe and the accelerated integration of Sweden and Finland into the US defense alliances were negatively affecting the situation in Europe, with prospects for increased confrontation. Speaking of the conflict in Ukraine, Gerasimov said that a hybrid war has been waged by the US and its allies against Russia. He said Kyiv has failed the much-hyped counter-offensive despite the Western support, and noted that the Russian forces are engaged in active defense and constantly expand the zones of control in all directions. Dasha Chernyshova reporting in Moscow for DD India.
Well, Prague's Charles University cancelled all lectures and events on Friday after the tragic shooting at Prague University on Thursday. Czech police tightened security around schools and other public buildings across the country. 14 people were killed and at least 25 injured when a gunman opened fire at Prague's Charles University. The country's president has declared December 23rd as a day of mourning across the Central European country. The United Nations World Food Programme, that's WFP, says it has temporarily suspended assistance in some part of Sudan's state of Gaza as fighting spreads from the capital, Khartoum. Around 3 lakh people have fled Gaza in a matter of days since clashes broke out last week. DD India's Patrick Oet has the latest from South Sudan's capital, Juba.
The World Food Programme says it has suspended operations due to escalating violence in the state. Fighting between Sudan's armed forces and the paramilitary rapid support forces is spreading from Sudan's capital, Khartoum, to the south and east of the country. The UN Food Programme has been providing aid to more than 800,000 people, many of whom had escaped fighting in Khartoum and settled in Jazeera. The state is the breadbasket of Sudan, and half of all wheat produced in the country comes from Jazeera. An average of 350,000 metric tons of wheat is harvested annually, enough to feed around 6 million people. The state is also home to the Jazeera Agricultural Scheme, one of the largest gravity-fed irrigation projects in the world. It is a source of income and livelihood for millions of people. Now, the area is being abandoned by residents and those who had sheltered there after fleeing Khartoum. The World Food Programme says nearly 18 million people in Sudan are acutely food insecure due to disruptions in economic activities caused by the ongoing fighting. In Juba, Patrick Oyet reporting for DD India.
But shifting focus to Asia, where Japan has approved record defense budget to counter China and North Korea. The country has finalized its record $54.25 billion defense budget for the upcoming fiscal year. The 2024 budget has an increase of about 17% from the previous year's spending. This is the second consecutive year in which the country increased its spending as it seeks to strengthen defense in a complex security environment in the region. Taiwan and Canada have signed a bilateral investment deal, boosting the Taiwanese government's effort to bolster business ties. The deal also includes a possible easing of Taiwan's entry into a major Pan-Pacific trade pact. The investment agreement incorporates deals on environment protection and governance goals. The Foreign Investment Promotion and Protection Agreement is part of Canada's plans to increase trade and influence in the Indo-Pacific region. Let's take a look at some other stories making news around the world. A potent Pacific storm pounded Southern California with heavy rain, bringing flash flooding to the coastal city of Santa Barbara. Forecasters said that the storm would continue to bring rainfall and thunderstorm to the southern parts of the state and to Arizona later today. Spain's Christmas lottery draw kicked off on Friday at Madrid's Royal Theatre. The top prize of $441,000 per ticket, known as El Gordo, will reward many winners across several regions, as the same number is sold multiple times. Revelers took to the streets in Toronto to mark the winter solstice, the day with the least sunlight of any on the calendar. The 3-hour evening parade through the city's Kensington Market district featured live drum bands along with dancing. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Bengaluru's Airport T2 named among the world's most beautiful airports. Documentary on Jharkhand gang rape case to kill a tiger shortlisted for the Academy Awards in the documentary category. And preparations for the season opening Grand Slam of 2024, the Australian Open, on in full swing.
China and the Philippines have had multiple face-offs in South China Sea. So what is the whole dispute about? Is China a sea bully? I connect the dots to get you the true picture. Watch Connecting the Dots every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India. China and the Philippines have had multiple face-offs in South China Sea. So what is the whole dispute about? Is China a sea bully? I connect the dots to get you the true picture. Watch Connecting the Dots every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Anil Thomas. Moving to Pakistan, where Pakistan's top court has granted bail to former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his close aide Shah Mahmood Qureshi in a case related to an alleged leak of state secrets. This comes ahead of the country's general elections that are scheduled for next year. Imran Khan had pleaded not guilty to the charges. Meanwhile, it is not clear yet if Imran would walk out of jail, as he has multiple arrest warrants issued against him in several other cases. Khan has been in jail since August after his conviction on corruption charges in a separate case. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Election Commission on Friday extended the deadline for filing nomination papers for national elections by 2 days till Sunday. The country's Election Commission said the decision was taken in response to requests from political parties and to facilitate the candidacy process, adding that rest of the schedule leading to the polls on Feb 8th next year would remain unchanged. Former Prime Minister Imran Khan and also Nawaz Sharif have said that they would submit their nominations despite a ban on their participation due to court convictions. Both are awaiting relief from higher courts that would allow them to participate in the elections. UNESCO's BRICS Versailles 2023 has been acknowledged Bengaluru's Kempegowda International Airport Terminal 2 as one of the globally acclaimed airports for its exceptional aesthetics. The airport has been distinguished with the esteemed special prize for an interior, signifying its unparalleled design, and stands as the exclusive Indian airport to achieve this prestigious recognition. Goa will host the second edition of one of the most prestigious energy events, the India Energy Week 2024, from the 6th to the 9th of Feb. Briefing the media, the Director General of Press Information Bureau said that the event will be an important milestone in achieving the goal of Viksit Bharat in 2047.
We have global companies, oil companies, who will be participating in the IW 2024. And as I mentioned earlier, this conference is basically about conversations and dialogues between oil companies and globally and from those in India to have conversations and bridging the B2B meetings to ensure greater cooperation and collaboration. Ultimately, India as a global powerhouse, we are all growing, and for our aim towards a Viksit Bharat by 2047, this is an important milestone. We are all very excited about it.
The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across the country with an aim to attain the saturation of flagship government schemes through ensuring that the benefits of these schemes reach the targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The yatra has arrived in the districts of Udhampur in the northern Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir. The local communities responded to it with great enthusiasm and active engagement. Advisor to the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir has also participated in the event. On the occasion, several beneficiaries shared their progressive stories under the segment Meri Kahani, Meri Zubani. On to India's central state of Odisha. The Similpal Tiger Reserve in the state is the exclusive haven for big cats, with 16 tigers documented, 10 adorned with distinctive dark stripe patterns. The 2022 Pan-India Tiger Estimate exercise unveiled this captivating secret. Let's take a look.
In the heart of Odisha's Similpal Tiger Reserve, a rare phenomenon unfolds: the elusive black tigers. Revealed in the latest report to Parliament, only 10 of these majestic melanistic tigers exist in the entire nation. Minister Ashwani Kumar Chaubey states that Similpal is the exclusive haven with 16 tigers documented, 10 adorned with a dark strip. The 2022 Pan-India Tiger Estimation exercise unveils this captivating secret. Melanism, a result of the heightened melanin levels, gives these creatures an ethereal allure. The Ministry of Environment emphasizes their conservation commitment, while the National Tiger Conservation Authority issues a strategic directive for the rehabilitation of these mesmerizing beings. Financial support is extended through the ongoing centrally sponsored scheme of integrated development of wildlife habitats to the Similpal Tiger Reserve. This funding is allocated for a spectrum of conservation initiatives, including the safeguarding of tigers, fostering awareness regarding tiger and wildlife conservation, habitat management, protection measures, eco-development, human resource and infrastructure development. These resources play a crucial role in sustaining the delicate balance of Similpal's ecosystem, encompassing voluntary village relocation and a holistic approach to wildlife preservation. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DT India.
Well, Indo-Canadian filmmaker Nisha Pahuja's latest project, To Kill a Tiger, has been shortlisted in the documentary feature film category for the 2024 Oscar Awards. The film is set in the eastern Indian state of Jharkhand and tracks the journey of a family who seeks to find justice for their teenage daughter who was assaulted by a group of men. The documentary, which is set entirely in India, premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival last year and won the Amplify Voices Award for the Best Canadian Feature Film. Well, time now for some sports updates. The European clubs that proposed forming the breakaway league, which sparked widespread protest among angry fans, has been threatened with sanctions by UEFA if they went ahead with the plan, leading to 9 clubs pulling out. A ruling from the European Court of Justice in Luxembourg stated that world and European governing bodies, FIFA and UEFA, had abused a dominant position by threatening the Super League clubs and their players with sanctions and expulsions from major competitions. The European Court also said that the rulers that demand prior approval for inter-club football projects were unlawful. The court called FIFA and UEFA's rules relating to the exploitation of media rights harmful to clubs, media companies and also fans. Within hours, a new European Super League proposal has been released. Preparations for the 2024 Australian Open were in full swing as tennis courts lines in Melbourne Park's Rod Laver Arena got repainted and large new shade structures were installed in Garden Square. Defending champion Novak Djokovic will bid for a record-extending 11th title and 25th Grand Slam crown overall. World number 2 Aryna Sabalenka will defend a title in the women's singles, which will also see former champion Naomi Osaka, Caroline Wozniacki and Angelina Kerber making their Melbourne Park returns after time away from the tour to have children. The Australian Open will switch to a Sunday start and will be held over 15 days instead of 14 for a first time next year in a bid to avoid night matches finishing in the early hours of the morning, organizers said. The 2024 tournament will run from January 14th to 28th. Well, ahead of Christmas on the 25th of December, people across the world are soaking in the festive cheer in more ways than one. Let's take a look.
In Spain, the annual El Gordo Christmas lottery draw kicked off on Friday at Madrid's Royal Theatre, where school children called out the winning numbers that will spread €2.95 billion across the country. Hundreds of people, some in costume, queued outside Madrid's Royal Theatre in order to get a good seat at Spain's Christmas lottery draw. In Thailand, 5 elephants dressed as Santa Claus handed out gifts to school children. 2,000 students welcomed the elephants with song and dance. Meanwhile, parts of South Africa's Johannesburg was decked with bright lights, where residents hosted street parties reveling in carols and nighttime picnics. The annual Festival of Lights at the Johannesburg Zoo captivated audiences, ushering in Christmas spirit.
Well, that's all in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We're going to be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Emmanuel Thomas. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.